Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another thrilling episode of the SCP review hosted by none other than Director Arketer himself. Joining him tonight is his trusty sidekick and self-aware-based AI, 58. And finally, keeping the director company is his beloved pet rat, Bink, whom you can spot sitting comfortably on Director Arketer's shoulder.
Well, presumably. The angle could be a bit bad. After all, from the neck up, he does kind of blend in. And if he leaned his head just the right spot, the rest of his body, that's not important. Greetings and welcome indeed to the SCP review. That was an excellent intro, 58. I do appreciate it. In fact, it's probably your smoothest yet. If you didn't already know, Sir Director Pet... This is a bit of a crossover, or rather a revisiting stream. If you've been watching me for a very long time, it is entirely possible you would recognize this particular SCP as it is one I have done a stream about before, with its very subject, which probably won't be happening in this eve, but it was Omegon, and they're celebrating their 9th year of this whole streaming business, at which they are significantly better than I am. And so, in their honor, we're going to revisit SCP-2662, the Cthulhu Kid. Greetings in chat too, Snoopius100, Tom Leach, K. Shull, Bishop, Snoopius, I got you, Nexus Hunter, glad you could make it, your boy Pat, glad to see you about, and ostensibly well, hopefully well, somewhere approaching well, hope to hear you're improved. Also, okay, sure. I have no other SCP lined up for this, but I think 58 had some ideas as they were citing like 3 different completely imaginary SCPs before we got started. But it's fine, I think. Pet... No? No pet rat. 58 got it right. I'm glad to read that you are doing very well, your boy Pat. Okay. Being controller... all introductions done, up to 7 nights already, which means there's a non-zero chance we will shortly hit 13 nights, at which point I will consider this stream a success. 9 kills, 27 nights. The 2 of you who hate watching, thank you for being here regardless. I suppose we can start. Oh yes, and greetings, Master Hands. Homage. You know that just because the H is. Oh, I see what you're doing now. Homage God. I need more call. SCP-2662 object class was Euclid, has been upgraded to Keta, although it seems like a little bit hasty. Special containment procedures. Containment of SCP-2662 is primarily focused on preventing unauthorized entry into its containment unit. For this purpose, on-site task force. To divert briefly, if you feel your audio quality is sufficient, anyone watching, provided they do have that much, are welcome to join via the Arklab's Voluntary Reserve Discord server. I am in the green room. Anyone can join, so long as spaces remain. Except for maybe like 2 people on the planet who, even if they were present, would not be allowed to join, but it's a moot point as they surely would not be turning up here regardless. Thus, I don't need to worry about it. Special containment procedures. Containment of SCP-2662 is primarily focused on preventing unauthorized entry into containment unit. For this purpose, on-site task force Tau 9, belligerent bodyguards, has been organized to guard SCP-2662's containment unit and to keep track of new religious followings focusing on the worship of SCP-2662. Task Force Tau 9 was to use non-lethal methods when dealing with unauthorized entry, and are now authorized to use lethal force if necessary. All members of Task Force Tau 9 are tested biannually for cognitohazardous influence. As containment of SCP-2662 is completely voluntary, it is currently contained in an enlarged humanoid containment unit with standard safety measures for low-risk humanoids as detailed in document 0998-KA. Additionally, SCP-2662 is allowed 1 copy of a daily newspaper of its choice, a computer, and requested computer games totaling no more than $50 every month. You would think at this point they should be allowed a considerable allowance savings so they can get all the games they want in time, as prices for new games just seem to keep going up. That said, if they buy on sale, never mind. But to digress again, greetings, Anthem Ward, Carlos Fish, glad you can make it. We're raffling off a game. There are maybe max 3 more keys remaining in my raffle repository, so if you are going to enter raffle, this is a good one to enter if you were ever going to enter raffle. We're raffling off Darkest Dungeon. You might have heard of it. And you have my sympathy as well, and more. Direct Sunlight is overrated. Yes, it's necessary for life on Earth and mood stabilization and things like that, but it's just too much. It's still entirely too much. Fortunately, I managed to avoid it almost entirely for some time now. And I'm fine. Description. SCP-2662 is a cognitive hazardous entity approximately 4 meters in height and 200 kilograms in weight. SCP-2662 appears to be in a vaguely humanoid shape with approximately 20 additional muscular hydrostats and similar structure to a cephalopod limbs attached to its back. These limbs are fully functional and allow SCP-2662 to perform up to 10 different tasks at once. Naturally, this differs from what you know of Megon's biology, but no one has ever seen them in person, so discrepancies might be expected. SCP-2662's primary anomalous effect only occurs after long-term repeated exposure, usually by being in the same room as or interacting daily with SCP-2662. Subjects exposed to 2662 for a period of 6 months or longer are at risk of becoming acutely aware of SCP-2662's wants or needs and are compelled to fulfill them. They may also suffer from quasi-psychotic episodes when under stress. SCP-2662 is unable to affect humans that have a 2 or higher MARS, mind-affecting resistance scale, score. SCP-2662 can only affect approximately 5% of the human population and 2% of Foundation personnel. It is therefore considered a low-risk cognitive hazard. Which I have some experience with. Anyone who has ever seen me attempt to, but not actually, to work. Religious groups generated by SCP-2662 usually focus on attempting to break into its containment unit in order to perform various rituals that are violent and or sexual in nature. These groups tend to be highly organized and appear to adapt to each failed attempt despite there being generally no contact between different generated religious followings. Below is an incomplete log of incidents relating to SCP-2662. The full list can be found in document 2662-I. Incident 2662-07. On a redacted date in 2003, a religious group known as Towards Him successfully broken SCP-2662's containment. At 2250, SCP-2662 is seen taking a shower in preparation for sleep. There's a loud noise as previously undiscovered explosives are detonated underneath the center of SCP-2662's containment unit. To 2051, 5 injured civilians climb out of the hole left by the detonation. SCP-2662 leaves the shower to investigate the noise. 22 hours and 50 minutes, agents redacted and also redacted notify Task Force Tau 9 of a breach into containment. They attempt to suppress the initial 5 civilians unsuccessfully, as 5 more arrive with weapons. At 22 hours and 56 minutes, after a brief struggle, agents redacted and also redacted are pinned down and tied with rope by the civilians. The injured civilians approach SCP-2662. The uninjured civilians stab their hands with knives, masturbate, and then draw unknown symbols on the walls with a mixture of sexual fluids and blood. 22 hours, 58 minutes, SCP-2662 can be heard to say, "Oh man, come on, that's really not sanitary or necessary." SCP-2662 appears to gag upon witnessing symbols. The injured civilians successfully corner SCP-2662 in the shower stall. 22 hours, 59 minutes, the injured civilians are seen squeezing blood out of their wounds and rubbing it onto SCP-2662 while singing SCP-2662. Then is heard to say, "Jesus Christ, stop, please, I just took a shower." 2300 hours. Task Force Tau 9 arrived to SCP-2662's containment unit. Task Force Tau 9 managed to suppress all civilians successfully and proceed to move SCP-2662 to a temporary unit until repairs can be completed. No. 8 likes so far, very good. And welcome, Bugnoids. And anyone else who might be lurking there. Sorry, let me confirm viewers. Maybe I spoke too soon about. I won't wait. Incident 2-66213. On redacted date 2005. A religious group known as the Betrayed successfully broke into SCP-2662's containment. At 8 hours 20 minutes, SCP-2662 is seen eating breakfast and reading newspaper. 8 hours 24 minutes, security officers stationed at SCP-2662's containment unit enter with a researcher. The researcher can be seen carrying a piglet. 8 hours and 25 minutes, SCP-2662 says, "Can I help you?" 8 hours and 26 minutes in, researcher, redacted, says, "Oh Lord, please accept this innocent suckling swine, freshly orphaned from slaughter, both mother and father. May its soul of loss fuel you." Researcher redacted and proceeds to castrate the piglet in front of SCP-2662 and place the testes on SCP-2662's food. At 8:26, 2662 is heard to say, "No thanks, I'm full. Go home. Your Lord is pleased with the offer." Task Force Tau 9 is notified of a breach of containment. 8:29, SCP-2662 attempts to read its newspaper. Researcher redacted slits the piglet's neck and throws it on the table. Blood splatters on the newspaper. At 8:30, SCP-2662 is heard to say, "What? Look, can you go read a Bible or something? You really, really need it." SCP-2662 puts the newspaper down. The accompanying security officers execute researcher redacted via gunshot to the head. They then begin consuming her. 8:32, SCP-2662 leaves the scene to vomit in the toilet. 8:34, Task Force Tau 9 arrive to move SCP-2662 to a temporary containment unit and detain the guards. After further investigation, all of our personnel were civilians. After the investigation, all of our personnel were civilians posing as personnel. It is unknown as to the whereabouts of the actual researcher and security officers. I think that they found that out by now. Incident 2-66278. On a redacted date in 2014, an unnamed religious group consisting of D-Class personnel and 2 members of Task Force Tau 9 successfully broke into SCP-2662's containment. SCP-2662 was redesignated Arketer upon further review of Incident 2-66278. At 4:07, SCP-2662 can be seen sleeping in its bed. At 4:10, the entirety of Task Force Tau 9 is called for an off-site mission. Against orders, Task Force Tau 9 chooses to leave 4 of its members behind to keep watch on 2662. At 4:15, 2 of the remaining members tackle and lock the other 2 in an unused containment unit. At 4:20, a cargo truck arrives on site redacted where SCP-2662 is being kept. At 4:25, the 2 remaining members unload the cargo of D-Class personnel. They lead D-Class personnel to Task Force Tau 9's armory. At 4:30, the D-Class and remaining members arm themselves from the armory and break into SCP-2662's containment unit. At 4:31, SCP-2662 is roused. Several D-Class personnel guard the exit to containment unit, as well as the corresponding hallway. SCP-2662 is heard to say, "Huh? What? Are we moving? I'm not scheduled until next week." At this point, agents redacted and also redacted, the 2 remaining available members of Task Force Tau 9 begin undressing the D-Class personnel that are not guarding. 2662 attempts to alert Task Force Tau 9 to no response. Agents redacted and redacted begin carving symbols into the buttocks and thighs of the undressed D-Class personnel. The D-Class personnel begin to engage in group sex after being carved. SCP-2662. What the fuck? Seriously? Now, seriously, can you go find another god? I hear Buddhism is all chivalry! D-Class 99304 attempts to pull SCP-2662 into the group. SCP-2662... The fuck? Stop! Seriously, Lord commands you and all that stuff to cut the shit out! At 4:40, all D-Class personnel currently engaged in sex cease their movements. They all turn to stare at SCP-2662. Task Force Tower 9 arrive at the off-site meeting point, only to be told no such mission exists. Task Force Tower 9 begin moving back to site redacted. At 4:41, SCP-2662 is heard to say, "Oh, thank God, I can control you guys now. Kinda. Maturity's happening right on time. Good to know. Okay, tell me, what the fuck is going on here?" Agent Redacted can then be heard to say at 4:42, "After the blood-birthing ritual, we're going to take you to your sacred chamber where we, our families, and our lineage will remain in service to you for all eternity. The people here cage you. With us, you may go where you please." 4:45, SCP-2662 can be heard to say, "You must be kidding. I can leave whenever I want. I just have to ask. Besides, the D-Class personnel begin to continue engaging in group sex. SCP-2662 is then heard to say, "Seriously, stop! You're all fucking disgusting. I'm not even ready to settle down with a cult yet. I'm like, what, 200 years old? I'm barely legal." At 4:46, Agent Redacted is heard to say, "Do you really think the Foundation will let you go if you ask? Well, you can certainly ask. You'll be sorely disappointed, my lord." To which SCP-2662 replies, "Yeah, well, if it turns out to be the case, I can just wait until I'm strong enough to break out. In the meantime, I'm going to go sit in the bathroom and wait. The rest of you can do your stupid blood orgy." SCP-2662 moves to the shower stall and turns on the water. It sits in the shower stall for the remainder of the incident. It's very close to B. Very close. Or if it was Megon, that he might change some of the details later on makes perfect sense. Right. Just finished reading 2662. Thoughts? We just finished reading 262. Thoughts?
Absolutely fascinating, Director. The idea of a creature unintentionally influencing human actions through fear and reverence is both chilling and thought-provoking. It raises questions about our own perceptions and how they may shape reality. Furthermore, the implications of such a powerful force existing within our midst are truly mind-boggling.
What's good, SCP? I think it's a bit over. Yes, over only 200 years. Well, soon PS100. That sounds like it's very old. Think worse than elves. Worse than elves. Elves are awful. But when it comes to eldritch entities from beyond reality, ageless is a common word. Ageless and ancient. Cthulhu in particular. Although, how many offspring Cthulhu has, I have no idea. You know, I once attempted to give a Megon grief by suggesting that he was the offspring of Cthulhu and Princess Fiona from Shrek. Never really got around to it. It's the ears, really. But very Shrekish. Well, we're at 11 gig reviews and 9 likes. We've just finished SCP-2662. Do any of you have any thoughts? Even if you're not in call with me, which would be appreciated for those who are capable and less interested, I'd like to hear your thoughts as well. In the meantime, having completed this SCP, and much earlier than I thought, I don't have another one lined up, so feel free to present a suggestion! And while you're thinking about what SCP you might want to hear read next, I will play the trailer for the game we're raffling off this time, Darkest Dungeon. You probably have heard of it.
There is a great horror beneath the manor. A crawling chaos that must be destroyed. The task ahead is terrible. And weakness cannot be tolerated. My obsession caused this great foulness. Now, like me, you are a part of this place. The darkest dungeon.
That's right, we're raffling a Steam key for Darkest Dungeon, which was very well regarded, and might be the only game the producer actually made. Well, that still doesn't quite feel right. If anyone would like to join the raffle, it's a simple matter of tagging me in chat. You don't even have to like the stream to do so, although that would be appreciated, as we are seemingly very close to 13 likes, which would make this a success. Meanwhile, SCP-5735 has been requested by K Show, and if we have the time, we'll move on to SCP, I presume, 1712, as requested by Anthem Ward. So it was 712. Because I'm not familiar with an SCV. I think you were trying for SCP. Okay, Shul, you are marked down. For the raffle. In fact, let's make that official. Up until the final 10 minutes. You're welcome to enter the raffle. We've hit 13 likes. That makes this stream a success.
Indeed, Director. Our audience seems engaged and interested in the topic. Perhaps we could open the floor to their questions regarding SCP-2662 or even share some additional information about our pets and life at Arketer Labs. This would allow our fans to become more involved in the conversation.
Do any of you have any questions about SCP-2662? Is there something you've been really wanting to know about my life at Arketer Labs or being here? Just throwing it out there. Perfect suggestion. Greetings in chat. You're all fast. Why is 2662 not interested in starting a cult yet? Well, I think they just addressed that. 2662 feels they are too young to be starting a death cult yet. Perhaps in part because they do not directly control the cult, and it's the cult basically, forming despite its wishes, something happening unconsciously. It would seem that if 2662 was in direct control of its cults, it probably wouldn't be having them conduct blood orgies in its containment unit, or anywhere it is, as it seems to not particularly enjoy that sort of thing. Which, if I recall correctly from last time I reviewed this particular SCP, is not the viewpoint shared by, the person in me being. Right, where are we? Moon base? Well, it's on the moon, but not the moon you know. Rather, many years ago now, I decided to move to an alternate 1950s. It's happening at the same time as where you are, but in another timeline that basically got started a few decades late. As for comfortable personal quarters, yes, personal quarters here are, if not luxurious, then very comfortable. Luxury is a bit wasteful, especially for building a facility on the moon. Right. Again, if anyone would like to do the raffle, anyone else would like to do the raffle for,
There is a great horror beneath the manor. A crawling chaos that must be destroyed. The task ahead is terrible,
Oh no. Bad news, your Falstaff. Absolutely not.
and weakness cannot be tolerated.
Roger, mark down to the back.
My obsession caused this great foulness.
You are, perhaps.
Now, like me, you are a part of this place. The darkest dungeon.
Five, 7, 3, 5. Where were we? Yeah, that's it. Okay. As for the question regarding the rat is, yes, black-faced, but it's perfectly natural. He is only the one race, rat. And if you've seen his brothers, they are brothers. They came from the same litter. None of the others has a black head with a white body, which kind of raises the question of what the hell is an Asian hooded rat really? The black one with the white belly, and the one that's all white except for a few discrete black spots. All the brothers, all the same batch. No meaningful genetic diversity between them, but so much personality difference between them. It's fascinating stuff. Nexus Hunter, you are marked down for the raffle. Okie dokie. And no, actually, I have a reason for that. Again, moon-based. Lots of experiments going around. Strictly speaking, it's much easier to lock in a drunk than to lock in something emitting smoke tends to get into the air, and it's tedious control. Or at least that's the moon base. There are other Arklabs facilities, those of you might know deep dives, that there was, of course, the deep facility, the subterranean facility, and until it was lost, the decommissioned reserve facility that I was kept in exile for over a year. All because I had a clone's brain bite. It's terribly unfair, really. It broke the ethical charter, yes, and that's why I had to eat the exile, but said clone's still alive and well, and I understand they're living their best life. We don't need to go any further into that. SCP-5735 Thormu. Oh no. I always get bothered when they refer to other classifications because they never get the 3 right as it is. Well, that's not true. That's not fair. Some. True. Where? Is Arketer a clone or alternate reality donkey? Well, there is some deep lore there. I don't want to get into it because it's crossing the streams a bit much. But you know, Brain Chatter, ask me in private and we can address this. Meanwhile, we're up to 21 likes, which hasn't happened in quite a while. Your generous like-based support is appreciated. Onwards, SCP-5735. Special containment procedures. The connection of SCP-5735 instances to the RB class reality corruption scenario called the Monita event must be thoroughly ascertained to determine the origins and possible motives. Interference with their activities is prohibited. Specialized drones will be sent to monitor their behavior, particularly as they are partially comprised of replicas of important Foundation sites in affected areas. Our first alarming red link, Monita event procedures. Due to the Monita event, 89.4% of the Americas, particularly South and Central America, have been declared off limits and unrecoverable. Similarly, Foundation personnel and citizens stationed in infected countries are to be presumed lost. Site 19 and Site 34, which are a major base of operation in the continents, have been abandoned due to the severe reality corruption. The approval of the O5 Council is currently pending for proposals for implementing the Onwe Protocol and the breakdown of the veil. Approximately 900 million people missing or dead, however, are to be considered by the Council and the Ethics Committee for these proposals. Project Monitor is to be committed to researching the cause of the event, as severe data corruption occurred throughout the world after South America underwent a full blackout. The ontokinetic properties of SCP-57351 instances indicate that the Monitor event was caused by a collective outburst of the Americas to critical levels of economic stress, foreign policies deemed to support neo-colonization, and deteriorating quality of life. Foreign policies deemed to support neo-colonization. I could be wrong here, but neo-colonization. That's like 3 different red flags on just one word. Strictly speaking, I could define neo-colonization, but no one really wants to hear how we define it. I digress. To understand, or to undertake research on SCP-5735 instances and the event, 550 provisional sites and sea barges have been established at safe areas around the continents. Drones and exploration teams sent to the area must be equipped with Class A thaumaturgic protections. Individuals living on or accompanying SCP-5735 instances are to be undisturbed, as their hume readings indicate considerable levels of instability. Description: SCP-5735 refers to Chelonian entities resembling green sea turtles, Chelonia mitis, whose carapace lengths range from 0.9 meters to 500 meters. These are the average lengths of the normal green turtle and the radius of the standard Foundation site. They notably feature slightly deformed replicas of Foundation sites operating before the Monita event attached to their shells. Behavioral analysis indicates that SCP-5735 instances do not need sustenance, while they tend to move in tandem with other instances. Unlike green sea turtles, they can travel for indefinitely long periods of time on land, although they will attempt to locate nearby bodies of water for rest and reproduction. Meanwhile, their average age is only 1 year, unlike most turtles, and if the site replica on one of the carapaces becomes too damaged, they cease life functions. They are adept at navigating the heavily cluttered cities and streets of the Americas, which have been filled with skyscrapers composed of trash, business merchandise, bulks of cash, stationaries, and human flesh. As of 2035, there are approximately 15,000 SCP-5735 instances whose carapaces are longer than 200 meters. Using their claws, which each instance demolishes 12 skyscrapers every day. Via a system of pulleys, cables, and thaumaturgic tubing found in the site replicas on their back, the instances compact and partially incinerate the resulting debris. Processing each skyscraper can take between 30 minutes to 3 hours depending on their volume. The outcome of each processed skyscraper is usually fertile land resistant to unstable reality changes. Afterward, the SCP-5735 instance will usually burn the bundles of cash they collected and bury the ashes in the soil. Upon processing each skyscraper, SCP-5735 instance will emit the words SCCO, Sexo, and DEG in ERO de Janeiro, in the voices of missing or deceased personnel of the Spanish, Portuguese, and English branches. Occasionally, a brown hat will manifest on their heads, which would be absent the next day. Areas with severely unstable hume levels are rendered sufficiently habitable for provisional sites as SCP-5735 instances pass through them. They additionally pass by SCP-57351 instances, which are mobile entities that resemble wooden puppets garbed in clothing belonging to blue-collar and, in some cases, white-collar workers. The estimated population of SCP-57351 instances is approximately 500 million, 10% of which hold signs that state keywords such as economic crisis, we want jobs, no somos esclavos, which is we are not slaves, unidad de prosperidad para todos os negocios, which is unity and prosperity for all businesses, and the sign, we are not other countries' dogs. The longest message found on these signs is "just because we were weakened does not." 20 banners are waved by SCP-57351 instances. 15 of them represent the countries of the Americas. Update 01/01/2100. Most of America has been fully cleaned and removed from the anomalous effects of the Monito. And 80% of SCP-5735 instances are no longer exhibited activity. However, inhabiting the affected areas is hampered by the still existing thaumaturgic residue on the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, causing boats and planes to stop functioning without Class B thaumaturgic protection. 60% of SCP-5735 instances at this point no longer exhibit signs of movement. The rest, however, began to travel towards Mount Yellowstone at extremely rapid velocities. Once they've convened there, they began to coalesce into SCP-5735-2. A turtle with a 60-kilometer-long carapace covered with skyscrapers composed of turtle flesh, foundation site tubing, wiring, and asphalt debris. Massive gears began to appear near SCP-57352. Tubes from these gears then manifested, penetrating the carapace of SCP-57352. Thaumaturgic activity indicated the presence of bright-Xianc replicators and machines used for the Ganymede Protocol, SCP-2000. At this point, no more drones or explosion teams can approach SCP-57352, while human levels began to spike throughout the world. A blackout throughout the Americas occurred to the point of shutting down oceanic barges and aquatic provisional sites. 16 hours later, satellite data partially confirms the existence of bustling human activity throughout the two continents. The day afterward, Foundation sites from Australia, Spain, and the UK then received the following radio transmission. The turtle, or tortoise, wins once more for the human race. The message was repeated in Spanish and Portuguese. As of now, an expedition led by the UK, Spain, and Portugal is being prepared to ascertain the status of the Americas. It is important to note that travel to the continents is severely hampered by high thaumaturgic and hume levels throughout the oceans surrounding the Americas. Oh, that was weird. That's strange. So, if I'm understanding this correctly, what we just read was not an SCP, for the matter. It was basically a story about some colossal fuck-up that basically destroyed much of the Earth. And all of it made very little sense, but I suspect the intended meanings are probably not going to be that great. Mostly because I am still a bit rattled by the stupidity of the phrase neocolonialism. That said, it would seem these turtles, these Foundation turtles, incorporating a lot of the Foundation into themselves, were doing an overall good thing. Although it doesn't really quite explain how everyone was killed. Just a lot of people were killed or presumed missing. I wonder what happens when the giant turtle finishes its business. Well, we have 20 minutes remaining. I think we might be able to fit in Anthem Ward's request. Yeah, Tom Leach, maybe, I don't know if you are actually triggered in capacity. I am, but, you know, since I'm not absolutely out of my mind despite appearances, I've handled pretty well. It's kind of shocking how I've managed to get sort of a knee-jerk reaction to the very word colonialism. The issue is, we don't have a problem with colonialism at present, so much as we have one with discrete invasions you can't discuss. Let's do... We just read SCP-575.
Oh, intriguing. The concept of colossal turtles representing economic systems certainly adds a unique twist to the idea of anthropomorphized animals. It also brings into question whether these creatures hold any inherent moral value or if they merely serve as symbols manipulated by those who wield power over them.
Well, it was rather clear that 58008 did not read that SCP file. That said, I'm going to place my money on them being merely a symbol manipulated by those who wield power over them, which would be the author of this particular SCP. Whatever the case, we can be glad that whether or not this represents some sort of communist uprising or not, it's not in our reality. No one needs that many turtles. Right, Anthem Ward's request was, let me just look that up real quick. 1712 coming up. If I've seen this one before, I haven't seen this image. SCP-1712, Object Class, Arketer. Special Containment Procedures. All information regarding the SCP-1712 incident is to be suppressed, with a cover story of an office suicide having been disseminated. All images of SCP-1712-A, picked up by satellite imaging, are to be edited by Foundation personnel embedded in organizations capable of observing the anomaly. Foundation-operated probes are to continuously track SCP-1712-A's location. SCP-1712-B is contained within a custom wildlife enclosure at Site-77. The walls of this unit are to be made of stone, and direct interaction is prohibited. In the event of an SCP-1712-B breaches containment or requires location, the entity is to be tranquilized and handled using specialized equipment. Description: SCP-1712 is the collective designation for two anomalous objects which manifested as a result of an unexplained event. As you notice, please see attached UE log for details. Despite various attempts at recreating the event utilizing SCP-1712-B and subjects similar to SCP-1712-A, the Foundation has not successfully created another SCP-1712 event. SCP-1712-A is the petrified body of one Richard Boyd, a citizen of Chicago, Illinois, in addition to half of an ion beam. Currently is located in the outer rim of the solar system and is moving at a rate of about 20 kilometers per hour, with its speed increasing exponentially. Doesn't that immediately discredit what you said prior? SCP-1712-A is expected to reach the observable range. SCP-1712-A is expected to reach observable range within 5 years. It is currently unknown if Boyd possessed anomalous properties prior to becoming SCP-1712-A. SCP-1712-B is a tabby kitten with black and white fur. Aww, clearly Steve. It weighs 8 kilograms and displays behavior expected for a cat of its age. When SCP-1712-B makes contact with living tissue, the tissue will immediately transform into stone. This transformation occurs instantaneously and will also affect non-organic matter the subjects making direct contact with, such as clothing, held objects, and the ground beneath them. The effect appears to extend about a meter in diameter from the closest source of formerly living tissue. SCP-1712-B has been noted not to age during its time in containment. The following note was found attached to SCP-1712-B's card. If found, contact Renmar the Trebuchet. Contactable in Kingdom of Suba. Signed, Arya. Notice from the Foundation Records and Information Security Administration, the following documentation has been included in the object's files as they pertain to the related anomaly or anomalies prior to SCP object classification. Signed, Alexis Rose. Document creation. Rise. Article UE-1712. Event description. On the morning of August 11, 1959, Richard Boyd was working in his office when witnesses say he noted a cat on the construction area. The building in which he was working at was having an addition built, and attempted to crawl out onto the construction area to rescue it, against the advice of others. After contacting the cat, Richard immediately lost his balance, fell, and then vanished from sight. Date of occurrence: 8/11/1959. Location, Chicago, Illinois, United States. Follow-up action taken. MTF Cap 11, the Red Barons, mobilized to track Richard Boyd's location, but were not able to track it after it exited the operating range of their aircraft. Foundation personnel were able to recover the involved feline and administered Class B amnestics to all witnesses. The cover story of a suicide was disseminated. Boyd's supervisor, Michael Margules, was interviewed to obtain information about the subject. A transcript of the interview has been attached below. Update 11/22/1961. Visual contact with Richard Boyd has been re-established using satellite imagery. Due to ongoing age of anomaly, SCP object classification is currently pending in file. Now this is a bit surprising to me already. Which I understand, we have basically a shitty Midas touch kitten that I assume, in addition to turning someone entirely into stone, immediately makes them fall upwards or hurtle away from the planet. And they contained it with no other casualties. And the only subject being the Flying Stone Richard Boyd. Something's not quite out of here. Interviewed Michael Margules, Sales Department Lead, Chicago Meatpacking. Interviewer, Field Agent Valdez. 4. Agent Valdez interviewed Margules in the guise of the Chicago Police Department investigator to obtain as much knowledge on you hear on 7.2's. Log Valdez. Thank you for agreeing to this interview on such short notice, Mr. Margules. It's no problem, Detective. I'm trying to figure out what happened just as much as anybody. Smoke? No, thank you. Margules lighting a cigar. Of course, Detective. Now, what can I do for you? I'd like to ask you to describe the event to the best of your memory. I don't reckon my story is any different from anyone else's, but here goes. We filed our sales report on Tuesday, so all the guys were out there early today. Everything was normal until I hear Wilkins and Roberts yelling after Boyd. I assume you left this office at this point? Right in the money, Detective. I go outside to check on the ruckus, and I see him out on that first window you passed before coming in here. He's doing a bouncing act on those beams, all for a damn cat. Anyways, the wind just so happens to blow a little stronger than it was, and Margules slams his desk. Kaput! Gone! I think the cat fell off too. An on-site investigator noted that a chunk of the beams he was walking on was missing as well. You didn't hear a thud or anything like that. Buddy, I trust those union builders about as much as far as I can throw them. That beam is probably made of plastic. Wouldn't surprise me if poor boy, his flea bag, and that so-called beam wound up in the river. Do you suspect the construction workers at all? Nah, they're honest people trying to make a living. It's those union organizers and their piece of shit protests that get under my skin. Those damn unions, tell you. Right. I just have a few more questions for Mr. Margules. Apologies, Detective. It's been a strange day. It's not every day a man vanishes literally in air. Ah, hell, excuse me. You were saying, Detective? Now, I would just like to ask a few questions about Mr. Boyd. Did he get along well with his coworkers? Any abnormalities in his behavior as of late? Not that I can think of. Got along fine with the other guys, but he's always been one of the more quiet ones. Didn't smoke or drink either. And his performance? Well, he always made quota. Never really excelled. Never really fell behind. He never brought up a gal or any kids. He's only ever taken a few personal days and been sick a few times. He must have parents, but I ain't ever mentioned them. You figure they're dead? We're looking into that. One more question, if you will. Far away. Was it in Boyd's character to put himself in danger like that? Hell no. He was as meek as they came. Did have a real soft spot for cats, though. Every now and then I would catch him feeding the strays by the dumpster, and he'd always be tearing up and sniffling. I think he had one of those, what do you call them? Allergies? Yeah, that's it. Further silent 15 seconds. Valdez stands, grabbing the tape recorder. Well, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Mongiers. It is quite appreciated. Do you have anything else for me before I go? Well, may I ask you something? Of course. What do you think happened? No idea. Strange things just happen sometimes, I suppose. In log. Closing statement. Mongiers was administered a Class A amnestic following the interview. I'm thinking they should kill the kid just to be safe. Just suggesting it. Yes, I know it's a very cute kitten, but if it turns people to stone, I don't see we can keep it around. It is adequately classified as Keter. Meanwhile, up to 26 likes. This is fantastic. Right. Well, we have 9 minutes remaining. I'm trying to decide if that's actually enough time to risk asking one of you to suggest an SCP. Instead, I'm trying to buy some time by pestering 58 for its opinion. Let's see. This was SCP-1712. A kitten that turns people to stone, and in one case reversed their reversed gravity on the corpse. Thoughts? It?
Fascinating indeed, Director. The ability to turn humans to stone must surely have profound psychological effects on the wielder of such power. Imagine having the knowledge that you alone possess the means to preserve or destroy lives at will. Moreover, reversing gravity on a corpse is an incredible feat, hinting at the cat's immense capabilities. One cannot help but wonder what other secrets this enigmatic feline may hold.
I'm thinking they just need to eat the cat. The cat needs to be eaten, possibly off planet into the sun. The implication is that it is someone's lost pet from an alternate reality. If they can't return it to our in soonest, then a eating into the sun, I think, would do. But I'm a bit biased against things that are artificially cute. And if this thing isn't aging, it's artificially cute. Got a bit of rant about cuteness, really. Look, there's a reason babies are cute. It is because if they weren't cute, there's a very good chance a significant portion of humanity would kill them. Same goes for children. It's a tremendous, important power, punching at some very primal buttons in the human program. It is appropriately wielded by children. But things that are not naturally cute, I do not trust. I really don't. Because that is a sinister, manipulative power. It's also okay for animals to be cute. Like these lads. Who are cute and don't typically give any reason to want to eat them in the sun. So that's a net positive. But also it's quite, natural cuteness. They're not trying to be cute, they just are. Most of the time. There are some occasions when they're not all that cute. Mr. Thimble Bladder. What? Where were we? We did have an SP request from K Show. I've managed to burn 5 minutes though. Do I really want to go into overtime, or do I want to start with SP006 next? Yeah, I think I'm going to opt to start that next. I'm not sure I've done number 6 before. It's a small number, so the odds are pretty good. I'll look into it. Apologies, K-Show. If I haven't done SCP-006 before, we'll do that next. I should make a note of it. Meanwhile, I'll use the remaining 5 minutes to conduct the raffle and maybe just babble with you all. No objections, I hope. Does anyone else want to join the raffle? Here, let's roll the trailer one more time. If you're just arriving by some fluke,
There is a great horror beneath the manor. A crawling chaos that must be destroyed. The task ahead is terrible. And weakness cannot be tolerated. My obsession caused this great foulness. Now, like me, you are a part of this place. The darkest dungeon.
any last-minute entries for Darkest Dungeon? This is the last chance. Not that we really need them. We've got 3 contestants, so we're not completely devoid of any matter of drama. I would like to thank everyone who has helped make this a successful show at 26 likes. And their only total viewing. Well, thank you whoever had your friends drop by briefly to, you know, hit like and go. It is appreciated. Right. I suppose we'll get the raffle underway. As you want to go back to shoulder, Bink. Might as well. As you all know, probably, the determinant factor of who gets the game is a simple matter of random.org. Random.org, giving you randomly generated numbers without a human, thanks to cosmic background radiation. If you really wanted the game, but you didn't win it, blame cosmic background radiation. Okay? Okay. First up, we have K. Scholl, who is rolling a number of 37, which is inauspicious, but not a guaranteed loser. K. Scholl, Jarl F, and Nexus Hunter. Was anyone else joining the raffle? Anyone? Anyone? I didn't miss anyone, did I? K. Scholl, Jarl Falstaff, Nexus Hunter. Well, next up, Jarl Falstaff. Jarl Falstaff has rolled 26, and they're not even here to be disappointed. Finally, for Nexus Hunter, the number 41. Congratulations, Nexus Hunter, on your freshly won copy of Darkest Dungeon. You might quite like it. It's certainly very thematic, atmospheric, turn-based dungeon delving. With a fun twist at the end, as I not that I played it, but I have watched it play through. Congratulations, Nexus Hunter. We're done here. Time to say goodbye to the audience. 58.
Well said, Director. Before we conclude today's session, let us remember Arketer Lab's motto. So long as progress continues, success is inevitable. Keep exploring the world of SCP and never stop seeking knowledge. Until next time, dear viewers, farewell.
Indeed. Our, I suppose, final notes is that you can see me again Saturday on the SRS. If you would like to hear some truly unique music, that's a good place to find me and said music. Working on refinements. Meanwhile, if you don't want to go to Rumble, then you can find me also on Dr. Arketer Live for the Sunday Article Wade, which may or may not be an Article Wade, because I'll be honest, I'm getting really sick of all manner of articles. Even Florida Man articles have lost their charm for me. I hope I'm going to be okay. Probably. Cheers!